Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good day, everyone. Hello. My name is Muhammad Azraulzain Silolipu, name 119105069, and I am from Professor Siska's Diplomacy Bilateral class. I'm here today to present a video regarding how does a country establish bilateral relations with another country. This video is heavily referencing the book Bilateral Diplomacy by Kishan S. Rana, if my pronunciation is correct, which our wonderful professor have provided to us. In accordance with the UN Charter and the basic tenets of international law, the presumption is that friendship and a willingness to cooperate animates foreign relationships between different countries around the world. Now, before we go on to discuss about how does a country build bilateral relations, we must first approach that question with the reason that preludes it. Now, proposing to establish these bilateral relations can be as similar as pressing connect on LinkedIn or hitting the follow button on Instagram. Now, I may be oversimplifying it, but if we delve deeper, we can observe the connections between these two. Now, if you want to connect on LinkedIn or follow on Instagram, we always have a reason compelling enough for us to do it. Now, in a country perspective, these are security objectives, the factor of close proximity or neighborhood, shared ideals, a shared enemy, matching interests, legacy or history, the factor of momentum, or the factor of diversity. So as I have stated before, there are several reasons or factors as to why a country could pursue and should pursue bilateral relations. So national security is very important as it determines the way one deals or approaches with other countries. So this could work as a weapon or as a shield. And if a country were to establish bilateral relations with another country, that national security could increase. Next, we have neighborhood. So neighborhood works in a way where close proximity can lead to a greater and easier relations, but in a worst case scenario, it can also lead to rivalry and antagonism. Case in point being Malaysia and Singapore, and South Korea and North Korea. Next, we have shared ideals. So shared ideals is simply sharing the same vision or ideology. So this could work in context, as the book has stated, for countries with a communism ideology, for example. Next, we have mutual antagonism. So mutual antagonism is having a common enemy. The enemy of my friend is my friend. So this could work in the World War II context, where, for example, different blocks are enemies, and the same blocks can form alliances because they have a common enemy in that other block. So having a shared enemy is very helpful as it aligns a goal for both of the countries. Next, we have matching interests. So matching interests comprises of many things such as expanding level of trade or investments or the need to work together for exploiting a shared resource. So this is very simple. So this is, in my opinion, just to simplify this, pursuing for an economic goal, a shared economic goal. So it's for economic development for each country. So if country B has potential to increase country A's economic goals, so they can work together for that. Next, we have legacy, shared history, culture, or religion. This could work in the context of countries with Islam as their main religion, or the ASEAN countries who have a very similar culture. So having a background which is similar can really help build relations as it shows familiarity. And then next, we have diversity. So diversity is a mature relationship is identified by diversified contacts which permit flexibility, accommodation for differences. That is all. Now that there are compelling reasons as to why a country should and could build bilateral relations, then diplomatic relations can start. Now, this can be done in a number of ways, but the main way I know of is that states can exchange diplomatic agents such as ambassadors or diplomats to facilitate dialogue and cooperations to begin these bilateral relations. These dialogues are extremely instrumental in building relationships between these bilateral countries because, as we all know, having talks, sitting down face to face, is the most simple yet the most effective way of communicating. And each dialogue conducted between the two yet to be bilateral countries are preceded by examining the benefits from the conversation and the objectives of that conversation. Past exchanges and the presence or lack thereof reciprocating from the other country is a big factor on the future of the bilateral relations that is yet to be established. Once the steps have been taken, once the dialogues have been conducted, and once a mutual understanding has been established by the two countries, a whole new array of possible interactions, whether it may be political or economical, can be conducted. Once bilateral connections are made, if the two countries share the same interests, they can also cooperate in areas such as education, in media, in science and technology, and many, many more. This not only benefits the country for its development, it also benefits both of them. And it also is very important, it's very fundamental in having a partner who is constantly transferring knowledge bilaterally, as I have said. And in my opinion, this is also very good PR to its citizens that this country is willing to cooperate with my country and that these countries are very good friends with my country. Therefore, this country is very good. It's very good PR as well. An easy example of countries with bilateral relations are Indonesia and Singapore. Now, Indonesia and Singapore's history of formal diplomatic relations can be traced all the way back to the 7th of September in 1967, which was a month after the formation of ASEAN on the 8th of August of that same year. After Indonesian and Malaysian relations were normalized, Singapore and Indonesia proceeded to continue their diplomatic relations, which resulted in Singapore setting up a liaison office in Jakarta. From then on until now, Indonesia and Singapore proceeded to continue its friendly diplomatic relations and cooperations. Now, as to the reason why Indonesia and Singapore have these relations, because in my opinion, it falls upon the legacy or history and the close proximity or neighborhood between these two countries. Now, these 2 points are the one that I found the most prevalent, and I'm not diminishing the other reasons as they're also valid, but why those two? Because they all have a correlation. For legacy or history, Indonesia and Singapore have had a deep history even before the modern era. I mean, yes, it dates back to the ancient kingdoms of Srivijaya. This very long history also attributes to the next point, which is close proximity or neighborhood. Having a long history makes us logically assume that travel by sea is close enough, because back then air travel did not exist. Humans cannot fly. Therefore, the long history between these two countries is heavily contributed to the fact that these two countries are in close proximity. So these 2 points, they all work together, hand in hand. And they are the prime reasons and the prime factors as to why these countries have diplomatic relations. And that is all from my presentation for today. I humbly apologize if I have said anything wrong during the video. And if there is anything wrong, please let me know. And to end it all, I have learned that establishing a bilateral connection is not as simple as it is, as I have thought that establishing a connection is simple as saying hello or sending an envoy, but turns out there's a lot of factors as to why would you do it, a lot of factors polluting to the act of sending an envoy in itself, and that the process of sending an envoy and having discussions and dialogues is very tricky in itself, and because of that, I have a newfound perspective and newfound knowledge regarding bilateral connections and relations. So without further ado, wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.